Okay, let's go on and get started. I want to thank everyone for coming out. I know this is a busy time of year for everyone, and the fact that you made the time to come today is greatly appreciated. Congressman Barr, Attorney General Conway, Mrs. STACY, Mayor Gray, and all of our distinguished guests and partners, thank you for coming out. Today's kickoff of the American Dream Loan Fund has been a year in the making, and I appreciate all of the people in this room that have continued to go back to the drawing board with us until we had a fund that worked for everyone. This morning, as I was preparing my remarks, I was reminded of Christmas 2008. Christmas was very different that year. We were just beginning to see the full scope of the crisis that would throw our economy into a tailspin for several years to come. It's now Christmas 2013. The economy is changing, and although we still have to keep our foreclosure counselors in place, it's time we roll up our sleeves and begin helping families achieve the American dream again. So we're going to start with about 50 to 70 families. But it can't be done the way it was done in the past. There's no room for predatory lenders and people looking to make a quick buck off of people who don't understand the home buying process. So we start with education. Every home buyer receiving a mortgage from the American Dream Loan Fund will be required to complete home buyer education and counseling. They will be required to complete their budgets so they understand what they truly can afford. Each house will be inspected to ensure they are investing wisely and will not have expensive maintenance costs soon after closing. Each homeowner will receive a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. There will be no adjustable rate mortgages or balloon mortgages that can quickly become unaffordable for lower and middle-income homeowners. This Christmas is different, and I believe it's one we can celebrate. Now, the American Dream Loan Fund would not have happened had it not been for some very good partners in this room. I want to start with the Attorney General. To help offset risk for our bank partners, CVC committed $500,000 to a loan loss reserve that would fund any losses in the first 2 years of the program. CVC was able to use $200,000 from General Conway's office, along with $300,000 from CVC's own funds, to complete the loan loss reserve. General Conway, we very much appreciate you allowing us to revolve your funds and continue to make new projects happen. All of this means nothing if it doesn't help our residents find their American dream.
Community Ventures gives realistic loans to realistic people. I am a single mother of a teenage daughter and a 7-year-old son. My son is autistic and has a lot of medical and therapy bills, not to mention the time I have to take off of work. I have a college education and a great job, but it is still hard to save money, especially the amount of money required for a down payment. Community Ventures differs from other loan companies because they are not predatory lenders. They want families to own a home they can afford and maintain throughout the loan period. Other mortgage companies wanted me to buy a $150,000 home. While that would be nice, it didn't fit my budget. Community Ventures and my loan officer, Kim Farmer, listened to my needs and helped me find a home that I both loved and could afford. The home loan process is never easy, but Community Ventures and Kim were very helpful. I was a first-time home buyer, so I was unfamiliar with almost every aspect of the home buying experience. Like other loan companies, Community Ventures requires a purchaser to have good credit, a job, and an income that can handle a monthly mortgage payment. I called Kim at least once a day with questions, and she always had answers as well as kind words to help me deal with the stress. I felt that Kim wanted me to own a home as much as I did. The American Dream Loan has impacted my life tremendously. I am able to own a home for less than half of my previous rent. I have a yard where my children can play, and I don't have loud neighbors directly above me. We can fix our home up to our own specifications. Home ownership has improved our quality of life. Autistic children, like my son, feel the world differently than typically able children because of their sensory issues. My son likes to play outside, he likes to have his own space, and most importantly, he needs stability. We now have that in our home thanks to the American Dream Loan and Community Ventures.
when you think about what gives a person dignity, it's a job, a family, and a home. And when someone, especially at Christmas season, is about to be foreclosed upon, perhaps because something went wrong with their job, and then have to turn around and tell their children and their family about it, really nothing could strip someone of their dignity so quickly. We in the Office of the Attorney General want to express to you personally, Kevin, how proud we are to be a part of this project. I mean, we're here today because of a journey that started a couple of years ago during the after effects of that incredible foreclosure crisis in the United States of America. From 2008 to 2012, nearly 67,000 families in Kentucky had their homes foreclosed upon by banks. I and my colleagues took action. Last year, we announced that 49 of us had reached an historic $25 billion national mortgage settlement with the nation's 5 largest non-Fannie and Freddie banks. And those banks were Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, Citi, and Ally. Kentucky's share of that settlement was more than $60 million. $38 million of it was allocated by a settlement administrator to consumers who qualified for loan restructuring or refinancing and or cash payments if they'd been foreclosed upon. And thanks to our outreach with housing partners, such as those that are here today, we've actually been able to double the settlement money that came to Kentucky. That's right, we have approximately doubled the $63.7 million in relief that came to Kentucky's nearly 2,000 homeowners. The average borrower who availed themselves of this settlement got about $35,000 in assistance. And Kentucky received about $19 million in what we call hard dollars or direct cash. Now, while some legislatures around the country and their lawmakers sought to sweep the money to plug holes in cash-strapped budgets, I and my staff and others fought very hard to make certain that most of this money went to housing purposes here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. The money has gone to agencies that create affordable housing, that provide relief or legal assistance to homeowners who are facing foreclosure, to redevelop foreclosed properties like the apartment complex that Kevin mentioned, and to reduce the blight created by vacant properties. And I'm pleased that $200,000 of these settlement funds are being used for leverage in this project. That money initially went through the Kentucky Housing Corporation and NeighborWorks, and the leverage they were able to work out has provided the matches to make this money go even further. I always say that the mortgage settlement was about second chances, both for properties and for people. This American Dream Loan Fund is a chance for 70 hardworking Kentucky families to realize their dreams of home ownership. Increased home ownership will create more stable and safe neighborhoods all across Kentucky. I appreciate Community Ventures Corporation for having the vision to realize this important partnership. And I also want to thank many friends I see here in the audience today from the banking community who have always stood by their communities, even in the hard times 5 years ago. And a special thanks to Kentucky Bank, PNC Bank, Republic Bank, Cumberland Valley Bank, and Traditional Bank for being a part of this very important fund. And I look forward to coming back and meeting some of the homeowners who have realized the American dream as a result of this important project.
The American Dream Loan Fund brings together the best elements of community banking. The ability to know your neighbor and make loans and investments based on a personal history, not just based on a checklist that's created in Washington or through some federal bureaucracy. What I have learned in my work on the Financial Services Committee is how crucial local community financial institutions are to the vibrancy of local economies. And it's based on character lending, character-based lending. It's based on personal relationships. And through this fund, through this special program, we have community banks, we have the Community Ventures Corporation, getting to know individuals, frankly, like Tara STACY, and giving her and her family opportunities that they wouldn't otherwise have, but doing so in a way that's responsible. 70 families will be beneficiaries of this. And the American Dream Loan Fund recognizes that there is a difference between being able to afford a home and being able to obtain the necessary credit to purchase a home. The fund will provide a helping hand to those with a stable income and a good rental history, backing them with private financing that would not otherwise be available. allowing them to strengthen their credit and grow their wealth. Not only will a borrower gain access to financing, the CVC will maintain a relationship with the borrower. And when Kevin was talking about the visit that CVC made to me in Washington, when I stepped out of that hearing, that's what we're talking about here. That's why I'm so impressed with what CVC is doing. This program will allow CVC to monitor the progress. It will provide homebuyers education, financial fitness education to the beneficiaries of this program, so that borrowers can continue to make sound financial choices and sustain that home ownership for years to come.
We're crowding the winner's circle today in a really one of those remarkable ways. It illustrates what a caring and giving community Lexington is. When Kevin described this sense of pride, this sense that of ownership that comes through ownership, that's a remarkable piece of our history and really essential and fundamental to the health of our city and our citizens and to our state and to our country. So, Jack, thank you so much for what you have done, for vigorously staying, with the wind behind you, sometimes when the wind wasn't behind you, and staying shoulder to the wheel on this project. This is really a big deal. I look around this room and I see friends from everywhere. Reverend Tyler, thank you, your congregation, those of your colleagues who understand in such a meaningful way and have a sense in the clergy for what these interventions really represent in our community. The banks, you guys have already been thanked 3 or 4 times, so I'm going to do it one more time. Houston and Louie and John and Bo and Todd and Lawrence and Bill and Dan and Jim and Shane and Wally and Darren. Now, Tara said soon you're going to say Dasher and Dancer and Donna and Dixon and Dixon. Well, we laugh at, we enjoy a time like this. It is a wonderful season, and it is a time when we can feel, even, yes, admittedly, better perhaps about ourselves when we are able to challenge ourselves through a project and do some really community problem solving like this represents, one step at a time. So thank you all so much. Kevin, thank you.